At last, the other role Charles has waited for, eclipsed by the Middletons over William's children, the Prince of Wales finally gets to be the grandpa he never had while growing up, writes Richard K. Not for a generation has there been quite such a rush of blue blood. Little wonder Prince Charles was beaming as he hurried back to Scotland to join the Duchess of Cornwall after Princess Eugenie's wedding. In a trice, one royal event had been upstaged by another with the news that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were to provide him with his fourth grandchild. Some 37 years ago, Charles and Princess Diana had their own joyous announcement of a baby within a year of marriage, now matched almost exactly by Prince Harry and Meghan. Their baby is due in mid-April, 11 months after their wedding and less than 3 years after they first met. Compare that with the slow progress of Prince William and Kate. From first date to first child encompassed some 12 years. For the Prince of Wales, the glad tidings have been received with delight. Not even the distinct possibility that Meghan's pregnancy might yet overshadow his own celebration next month, when he marks his landmark 70th birthday, has brought so much as a princely murmur. How times have changed. Where once aides would have fretted about how, away from the public gaze, a prince so often consumed by gloomy introspection would handle such news, today there are no concerns. So why is it that now, as he is pushed further from the limelight, the heir to the throne is so remarkably upbeat? One key reason concerns his role within his own close family. More than ever, Charles wants to be the grandfather he never had himself. His paternal grandfather, the dissolute Prince Andrew of Greece, died before he was born, and he was only 3 years old when the Queen's beloved father, King George VI, died. The Queen Mother stepped into the void left by her late husband to become a consoling figure and shoulder to lean on for the prince until her death in 2002. Ever since the birth of Prince George in 2013, Charles has sought to play a similar role in the lives of his own grandchildren. At times, it has been a difficult and thwarting experience. 3 years ago, he was said to feel excluded from Prince George's life, complaining that he almost never sees his eldest grandchild. With the arrival of Princess Charlotte in 2015 and then Prince Louis earlier this year, those frustrations have eased. The Prince of Wales is now said to have a good relationship with his grandchildren, or at least as good as a man can who does not always welcome the interruption small children may bring to his fastidiously tidy homes. He has also had to accept a secondary role as grandparent to Kate's parents, Michael and Carol Middleton. But with the Prince Harry's baby, that will surely change. Although Meghan is certain to want her mother, Doria Ragland, close at hand, especially in the run-up to the birth and in the early days of motherhood, the future is less clear. In the unlikely event that Doria plans to move from her home in Los Angeles and settle permanently in Britain, Meghan will inevitably find herself relying on her husband's family for support. Charles will certainly hope that is the case. All this matters for the prince, who has anticipated the role of grandfather ever since he asked a ladies' circle in Wales for any tips shortly before George's birth. "Spoil them and enjoy them, but give them back at the end of the day," were the words of wisdom they imparted. Here, then, is an opportunity for Charles that was denied him with his first 3 grandchildren. He will be anxious to take it. Can he have the mentoring role with Harry's child that he did not initially get with William's family? His relationship with his younger son is central to all of this. In recent times, Charles has had many opportunities to mull over the incredible change that marriage instability have brought in Harry's life. Despite his wayward reputation some years ago, in trouble with drink and drugs and a lack of judgment, Harry has always been closer to his father than William. When the brothers appeared on TV documentaries about their late mother last year, to mark the 20th anniversary of Diana's death, it was Harry alone who singled out the role their father had played in their lives. Then, at Christmas, father and son collaborated on a recording about climate and the environment when Harry guest-edited Radio 4's Today program. When the two princes were growing up, where William was willful, Harry was biddable. For Charles the difference is crucial. Perhaps because of diffidence on his part and hostility on the part of William, Charles did not play the role he had hoped to in the early days of George's life. But with the arrival of baby Sussex, the tectonic plates of royalty are shifting. The glamour of Harry and Meghan, if anything, more popular now than they were when they married in May, has always been offset by the public respect for the dutiful Cambridges. Now, With two attractive young families at the heart of the royal family, the beguiling Charlotte in particular was a star at Princess Eugenie's wedding. Popularity for the monarchy seems assured. How clever, too, that Harry and Meghan chose to announce the news of the Duchess's pregnancy once they had set foot on Australian soil. It can only be a setback for the Republican cause down under. What is intriguing is Charles's own position as the father of two sons and the head of two delightful families that represent the best of the monarchy. Rather than undermining him, as once might have been the case, they appear to shore him up as a benign patriarch, as well as shoring up the rest of the royal family. Years ago, the glitz and glitter of Diana reduced Charles to the margins. But in those days he was a prince who was envious of the attention garnered by his ex-wife. Maturity and remarriage to the former Mrs. Camilla Parker Bowles have changed him. These days, after some initial misgivings, he has adjusted to the fact that his sons and daughters-in-law are the focus of public approval. There is a contentment about him that didn't exist even 10 years ago, says an old friend. He knows the spotlight is on the younger family members, but rather than resenting it, he regards it positively. He is showing he doesn't need to be center of attention. Lately, even the clamor over that old chestnut about the monarchy skipping a generation once the Queen is no longer with us has scarcely been heard. This is because the public are seeing how Charles is taking on ever more of his mother's duties. Of course, Charles also knows that popularity can be fragile, especially when those eternal questions arise about the future role of his wife, Camilla, as consort when he becomes king. For now, though, all eyes are on Kensington Palace, just as they were more than 35 years ago when Charles and Diana were beginning their family life there. According to one of the prince's oldest friends, Charles thinks Harry will be every bit as good a father as William has been, perhaps even better. Harry is much more open than William, has bucket loads of likable qualities and the human touch that he inherited from his mother, says the friend. Charles knows that William learned much about the art of kingship and duty from the knee of his grandmother during what Diana called his granny chats at Windsor Castle. In time, Charles would like to give those vital life lessons to all of his grandchildren. One thing is certain, the showbiz razzmatazz of last Friday's royal wedding at Windsor has been all but vaporized by the announcement of a first child for Prince Harry and Meghan. For it has given us a glimpse of the future lineup on the Buckingham Palace balcony, which has been part of so many famous scenes in our island history. In time, baby Sussex will be taking his or her place there, at the heart of the royal family.